The signal was unmistakable, a lighthouse beacon, shining from a structure that had been abandoned for decades. But instead of guiding ships safely to shore, it led them somewhere else entirely, into rocks, into reefs, into open water they never escaped. Tonight, we're diving into the chilling true account of a maritime mystery that defies explanation. Was it a malfunction, a cruel prank, or was it something far more sinister pulling ships toward their ruin? This particular lighthouse stood on a narrow strip of rock several miles off the coast, a lonely sentinel in a vast, unforgiving sea. Built in the early 1900s, it once served a vital purpose, guiding cargo ships through a notoriously dangerous channel known for sudden, thick fog and jagged, hidden reefs. Its beam was a promise of safety, a steady hand in the darkness for countless sailors. But technology marches on. Automation made the role of a keeper obsolete, and eventually, the entire structure was decommissioned. No power, no fuel, no maintenance. The last keeper locked the door behind him in 1972, and the official records are crystal clear. The light was never supposed to turn on again, and yet, decades later, long after it was left to rust and ruin, sailors began reporting it. A single, powerful beam cutting through the night, a light that should not exist. At first, the reports were dismissed as ghost stories, the kind of tall tales sailors swap on long voyages. Optical illusions caused by atmospheric conditions, perhaps, or maybe confusion with other distant lights. But the reports kept coming, and they were disturbingly consistent. And then, the accident started. The first modern shipwreck in that area happened on a surprisingly calm night. The skies were clear, the sea was gentle, and the ship's instruments were all stable and functioning perfectly. The crew was experienced, having sailed this route dozens of times. The captain logged a visual confirmation of a lighthouse beacon directly ahead, marking what he believed was the safe, familiar route. Following procedure, he adjusted the ship's course. Just minutes later, a horrific grinding sound echoed through the vessel as its hull was torn open by submerged rocks. Rocks that, according to their charts, simply weren't supposed to be there. Miraculously, the entire crew survived, but the ship was a total loss. Investigators initially blamed outdated charts and human error, a tragic but explainable accident. But then, it happened again. Another ship, another clear night, another experienced captain. And again, the pattern was undeniable. And each surviving captain reported the exact same unnerving detail. The lighthouse light was wrong. It was too bright, almost blindingly so. It was too steady, without the familiar rhythmic sweep. And it was positioned just slightly off from where it should have been. What truly disturbed investigators wasn't just the existence of this phantom light, it was its behavior. Onboard radar systems confirmed the physical structure of the lighthouse was exactly where it should be, a solid, unmoving blip on their screens. But the visual sightings from the bridge consistently placed the beacon itself slightly off position. Not drifting like a flare, not flickering like a faulty wire, but just misaligned. It was as if the light itself was detached from its source. Some sailors reported that the light rotated in the opposite direction of standard lighthouse mechanisms, a detail that would make any mariner's skin crawl. Others swore that it pulsed once, a slow, deliberate beat, whenever their ship changed course to move away from it. It was almost as if the light was aware, as if it was responding to their attempts to ignore it. Bewildered and facing mounting pressure, maritime authorities launched a formal investigation. They dispatched a helicopter to inspect the lighthouse directly. What they found only deepened the mystery. The structure was just as the records described it, derelict and decaying. There was no power source. The generator was a rusted-out hulk. The wiring had been stripped or had corroded away decades ago. The lantern room itself was empty. There was no bulb, no reflective lens, nothing that could produce any light at all. Just when the mystery seemed like it couldn't get any stranger, the radio transmissions began. Several crews sailing near the abandoned lighthouse started reporting that they were picking up faint, unusual signals on unused radio frequencies. At first, it was dismissed as simple static, the kind of background noise you expect on the open ocean. But as the reports grew more frequent, some crews managed to record the transmissions. When audio analysts cleaned up the recordings, filtering out the static and amplifying the underlying sound, they discovered something else hidden beneath the noise. It was a voice, distorted, faint, and sounding almost as if it was speaking from underwater. And it was repeating a single chilling phrase, over and over. "Come closer." The voice was unidentifiable, matching no known emergency broadcast or naval communication. And the strangest part, the transmission was interactive. When a ship, spooked by the message, turned its bow away from the lighthouse, the signal would stop cold. The radio would fall silent. But the moment they turned back, curiosity or duty pulling them toward the light, the waterlogged voice would resume its eerie invitation. The most terrifying piece of evidence in this whole saga came from the final log of a cargo ship that sailed into the region and never returned. Its last known entry, scrawled in what appears to be a rushed and unsteady hand, paints a haunting picture. It reads, "Beacon in sight. Course adjusted. Feels wrong. Light is too high, too close, like it's watching." The distress call that followed shortly after was brief and chaotic. The captain is heard shouting coordinates that didn't match any known location in the area. as if his navigation tools had suddenly become useless. Then, just before the line went dead, he transmitted one final, horrifying sentence. "It's not warning us away. It's calling us in." The ship and its entire crew vanished. Despite extensive search and rescue operations, the wreckage was never found. Today, the official status of the lighthouse remains unchanged, abandoned. No further official sightings of the Phantom Light have been confirmed by authorities, and the incidents have faded from headlines into maritime lore. But the local fishermen, the ones who know these waters better than anyone, still avoid the area after dark. They share stories in hushed tones, stories passed down from those who saw it themselves. They say that on certain nights, when the fog settles over the sea just right, a light still appears on the horizon, not sweeping, not guiding, just waiting. And perhaps the most unsettling part of this entire story is this. The ships that were lost weren't lost because their crews were careless or inexperienced. They were lost because they did exactly what they were trained to do. They trusted a light in the darkness, a light that had long forgotten its purpose and had found a new, terrible one instead. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, be sure to follow for more mysteries from the deep.